Well, assessment of spring.
Good spring. We have a long way to go. We got to get a lot better, but we made some good progress too. A lot of development from some young guys, and for the most part, we stayed healthy. This is the most physical spring we've had since I've been here, and we had very few injuries.
What are areas are of concern you think you need to work on?
Just keep developing our depth. I think we have a really good first team, and then we have some young players that are learning, figuring it out, that have a lot of ability but aren't there yet. So those 29 practice opportunities you get in the fall are going to be huge.
How big was the physicality the line's always physical, but for the entire offense just to be as physical as you were?
It was good for us, I think. I think it's going to serve us well in the fall. But this was the most physical spring ball we've had since I've been here, and it would be one of the most physical ones I've ever been a part of.
What's impressed you the most from Keaton during these 15 practices?
Just his decision-making, his efficiency, things I expected, but he is what I expected him to be. Just calm demeanor, under control out there, runs the show.
Has it been surprising how quick he took to maybe a leadership role? It seems like the players have spoken about that.
I wasn't surprised about that because I had heard great things about him before I met him, and then once I got to know him, I could see that he had those qualities, so that wasn't surprising. I think I was just more surprised how much he loves it here. I was hoping he would love it here, but it's been pretty obvious that he's really happy and enjoying his time.
What does he say that he liked the most about being here?
I don't know any specific thing. I just know that he's enjoying himself.
Do you have a quarterback depth chart behind him figured out yet?
Not yet. Keaton is our starter, and I want to make that clear that he's clearly, we put him in position to earn that job, and he's lived up to what we expected up to this point. And so he'll go into fall camp as our starting quarterback, and as long as he continues to do what I expect him to do, I expect that he'll be our starting quarterback in the first game. And then Retzloff and Cade Fennigan are battling for that number 2 spot, and they've both had some good days, and I expect that battle to continue into the camp.
How much is Retzloff's availability early on in camp factored into not being able to kind of have a clear cut back up?
Definitely a factor. Yeah, he missed a good amount of camp, and then even when he started, we kind of had to ease him in because he just the health stuff. He had a rough couple of weeks there, a rough month, I guess. But he came on strong, and Cade's a good player too. It's good competition.
What are your other position battles on offense?
O-line's going to be a battle. There's a good number of guys there that are fighting for starting jobs, and then who's going to fit where in the second group is still, there's a lot of question marks there, and then we have a couple of good players that didn't participate this spring or that they're going to factor in. So that's probably the most uncertain area right now, but I have a lot of confidence in the quality of that group.
With the transfer portal right now, do you expect to retain all the quarterbacks in that room?
I expect to. If someone leaves, it'll be a surprise to me.
On the transfer portal front, you mentioned earlier in spring you had an idea of what you needed to go out and get. After 15 practices, has that changed at all in your mind?
Not really. First thing is we'll never turn down a great player. So if there's a great player that wants to be here at any position, we'll consider them. And but yeah, we need to get a little bit more depth at a couple of our skill position areas, and like the guys we have, we're a little thin right now.
Which players that are maybe summer additions or fall additions do you envision hopefully having some sort of role with this group in the season?
I don't know. Sometimes it's unfair to say that, but I think wouldn't be surprised if Jackson Bowers has a chance to play as a freshman, just because physically he looks like a college football player already, and we'll see what LJ brings too. He's another one that's interesting guy. I might be forgetting someone, but that's 2 guys off the top of my head that I think could have a chance to play in their freshman year.
Timeline for Aiden Robbins, Paul Miley, are they expected to be full go, healthy for fall camp?
Yeah, Aiden really could play right now. We're just being smart. It's a hand thing. We don't want to mess that up. He looks great out here. He's really smart guy. Knows what we're doing. We're just protecting him. That running back is a physical position. Those guys get beat up in the season, so we want to get him to the first game healthy.
After the kind of the so-called big 3 returning receivers, Epps, Roberts, and Keanu Hill,
Yeah.
has any of the other receivers kind of moved into that 2 deep chart?
Parker Kingston was playing great until he had another hand injury. It was and he'll be fine like really soon. He was playing really well, and I expect him to be a factor in the fall. And Dom Henry had a nice spring. Wouldn't be surprised if Dom finds a way in. And he's I might be forgetting someone. And then Hobbs Nyberg and Talmadge Gunther are both reliable guys that you can count on. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see those guys play some this year. Yeah.
Do you think it's been overblown about needing another receiver?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I made the statement earlier. We want to build, increase our depth there, but we like the guys we have. It's not that we don't feel like we're good there. It's just our overall numbers are a little lower than they've been the last 2 years, and it's a long season. And we had Puka miss some games last year. We had Chase Roberts miss some games last year. Cody missed some games. So you need guys to get through the season, and it wasn't a reflection of what I think of the guys we have. It's just having enough of them to get through a Big 12 season. That's going to be a more physical league than what we've been playing.
When you get back out here, you're officially going to be a Big 12 program in August. What's still left on the to-do list in your mind?
Lots of things, and we just got to keep getting better every day. We need to keep building our depth, keep recruiting, and just getting better in all areas. I mean, the margin of error is going to be really slim, and just from my experience in the Pac-12, it was every team in the league could beat each other every week, and I think the Big 12 is going to be the same way. I think the margin from top to bottom is going to be very thin.
You bring up recruiting. What's been from your experience here, what's been the biggest change selling a Big 12 program compared to an independent one?
Well, I think recruiting here is always going to be kind of what it is in some ways. I mean, we definitely have a certain, a certain type of student athlete that's interested in this experience. So that doesn't change too much. But I think being in the Big 12 definitely gives us a better chance at some of those guys that we've lost in the past that wanted to play in a Power 5 conference. And I think it's given us a better chance with some of those guys.
How many NFL teams have you talked to regarding Jaron, and can you compare that to what you went through with Zach a couple years ago?
Yeah, good question. Almost all of them. I've talked to almost every team, I think, in the league. And there's several teams I've talked to twice, and even one team I've talked to 3 times about him now. So, so that's keeping that one close to the vest. But it's comparable, to what I went through with Zach.
Is there one issue that they talk to about the most about Jaron, or question they ask about him?
Not really. No, I think the feedback's been really positive, and I think it's funny. Each team just has different questions and different opinions, and some ask more about football things, and some ask more about just what he's like as a person and how he interacts with his teammates and those type of questions. It varies from team to team.
Do you think the age factor with Jaron is over-talked about?
Yeah, I think it's super overblown because quarterbacks can play into their late 30s in that league, and a lot of the guys don't figure it out until they're late 20s. You see guys all the time who struggle for a few years or bounce around the league, and all of a sudden then they get it, or they get in the right situation. It happens all the time. So I think the age thing is definitely overblown at the quarterback position.
Are there some players or maybe some players that you want to highlight that you feel have taken big steps forward in their development during these spring practices?
If I do, I'll probably forget someone, so I'd rather probably just I think I'd probably just avoid that one, sorry, because there have been some guys, but I might mess that up.
Maybe as a position group then as a whole?
I'm happy with our quarterbacks because we started all over there. That group, Cade, we don't have a quarterback that's taken a snap in a game for us here yet, and so it's pretty much starting from scratch this spring. And I think I expect that group to be really solid. I think we'll put a good quarterback on the field no matter who we play.
How much have you studied on Big 12 defenses to this point in the offseason?
Quite a bit already, actually. Yeah, spring ball is more about getting our scheme and our offense in, but walk on the treadmill. I've got my iPad, and I'm usually watching a Big 12 defense while I'm on the treadmill, or at home. If I have a few minutes, I'm on it. I'm already starting to put together thoughts, but we'll get real serious about it after spring. We will start actually putting together preliminary game plans on our early Big 12 opponents.
What are the highest priorities over the next few months before you get to fall for the players and then
Well,
for the offense?
recruiting starts now, so from now till the end of May is spring recruiting. So that'll be our top priority right now, is to recruit and then keep developing our players. So they've got finals next week, and get a little break, and then we get back to our off-season conditioning. Required conditioning starts in the middle of May, so it'll be player development and recruiting.
With Ryder Burton coming in the spring, is he about where you expected him to be at this point? What's your impression of him now?
Yeah, he's young. I mean, Ryder's he's a young kid. He's it's funny now. Most quarterbacks you recruit nowadays have been held back. Ryder's just the opposite. He should still be a junior in high school, and age-wise, and so he's just barely. I mean, he's a long ways from his ceiling. He did a good job this spring, and he's right on schedule. I think he's going to be a good player here.
Last question.
How many
Anybody?
scholarships do you envision having available, or do you want to have available for this 2-week window in the transfer portal season?
I can't answer that yet. There could be some attrition. There could be, it's kind of in flux. We'll see how things go. We have exit interviews with guys, and some guys might choose to move on if they're not happy with their role, or we'll see how those things come about. But there'll be, I think we're in that era of college sports where there's going to be turnover, more than there was in the past. It's just naturally going to happen, and I'm for it. I think it's great that players can be where they want to be.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Aaron. Appreciate it.